Second.
Welcome, everybody. This is CTC Welcome Weeks, and today we are hosting a financial literacy workshop. We want to give you some information on financial aid, scholarships, how to pay for school and save money in the long run so you can afford to keep going to school. We want you to finish out. So we've got some money experts here today, and in Tina Sanchez Urieta, and we've got Pearl Creviston from Financial Aid. We've got Lucette Brett from our Veteran Services to talk about military education benefits. And we also have Mariceli Santiago, who is our Student Life Director, who will help monitor our Facebook stream and answer any questions that outside of the financial literacy world that Tina and Pearl and Lucette, since they're our experts, will be the ones primarily answering those. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Tina. And Tina, it's your show, so take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, students. Go Eagles. I want to take this opportunity to provide you information about the FAFSA, loans, about financial literacy, budget, and any questions you may have. We're going to cover a lot of information with the time that we have. As Bruce said, my name is Tina Urieta, and I'm the loan officer for the Financial Aid Office. And first of all, I want to emphasize that as far as financial aid, the first thing will be to complete the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. Once you complete the FAFSA, then our office will receive your information within 3 to 5 business days, and we can start processing your financial aid. And based on your FAFSA information, we will determine what you're eligible for. If you're eligible for the federal Pell Grant, if you're eligible for direct loans, for the subsidized or the unsubsidized, or any other institutional aid that you might be eligible for. So with that being said, I do have information there. We do provide in our office our little bookmarks. The bookmarks provide all the steps to our completing our FAFSA. Also, you can find this information on studentaid.gov. So the website studentaid.gov has the steps and has all the information, and this is where you will complete and submit the FAFSA. And I'm not quite sure if anyone wants to add anything regarding the federal Pell Grant, or do you want me to move on into other questions regarding the steps of the federal student loans? Do you
Let's
want to add
continue with
anything?
that, and then we'll get into a
Okay.
brief description of the Pell Grant and so forth. But let's go ahead and get the steps since we're talking about that.
Sure. Okay, yes, most definite. As far as the federal Pell Grant, so that's the first thing you will do. Log into studentaid.gov. Students, you can submit that, and make sure you have your FSA ID created, and that you monitor your Eagle Mail within, to receive. That's where we submit any correspondence regarding the status of your federal Pell Grant. So do check your Eagle Mail, and also check in with our financial aid office regarding your status of your financial aid. And any students that receive a response, you could be accepted, you could be, the status could be needed more documentations, or could be approved depending on your outcome of your FAFSA application. And I do want to emphasize one thing. You do have to submit the FAFSA every academic year. Complete the FAFSA every year, and renew it every October 1st. You can submit the FAFSA for the following year. In this case, you can complete the 23-24 FAFSA and provide the income tax information of 2021 for that particular year, and make sure you don't miss any deadlines as far as waiting until the last minute to complete the FAFSA. You want to do it as soon as you can, and to avoid any delay in your financial aid. Also, regarding the submitting the FAFSA, you want to make sure that we do have your account updated on Eagle Self-Service. If we're going to communicate as far as what other documents we need from you, make sure your student email and Eagle Self-Service on your student account is updated. Make sure your phone number is updated and that we have all the accurate information so we can effectively communicate with you. Is there any questions?
None so far.
Okay. Also, regarding the loans, so I'm going to touch a little bit about the loans in regards to questions about the subsidized and the unsubsidized. We do also offer the Parent Plus loan. You are more than welcome to look at our CTC homepage under financial aid, and you'll be able to view all this information. It'll explain in details as far as what the loans that are offered by the Department of Education and what they're it'll explain as far as everything in detail about each loan. As far as the direct subsidized, that is based on financial need. A student, depending on their FAFSA application that they submit, it would generate as far as how much they're eligible for the subsidized. The interest rate is paid by the Department of Education while you're a student at CTC. As far as the unsubsidized loan, that is not based on financial need, and you will be starting the interest rate will accumulate over time, so that you will be charged the interest rate on that unsubsidized loan. So there's more to it, but that's sort of like the main difference between the two loans. And also Parent Plus loan, we do offer that for students that need additional financial aid for school. We do offer the Parent Plus loan as well. Also, I want to point out for students that have already received the loans, and make sure that you do go to your Eagle Self-Service and make sure that the loans are in acceptance. Sometimes they're sitting in your account in pending status. If a loan is sitting in pending status, it will not transmit, it will not disperse to the business office. It will not be released to the business office unless you go to your Eagle Self-Service and accept that loan or decline the loan, depending on what you want to do. If you have any questions regarding the status of the loan, regarding if you want to adjust the amount of the loan, you're more than happy to call our office, and we'll be able to view your student account and go over your account information. The number to call the office is 254-526-1507. 1508. And if you want to contact me directly, my number is 254-616-3313, and I will be more than happy to further take a look at your account and make sure that you have all the documents necessary. As far as the loans, we do require some documents. The Federal Department of Education, and if a federal requirement is that a student must complete the entrance counseling interview. We are going to need that document. Also, another document that it's required is the master promissory note that needs to be completed. Those two documents need to be on your file, and we need to have those in order to release any disperse any loans to the business office. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna go further, and also, and I want to point out that regarding your financial aid, you do want to maintain a good academic progress. Make sure you have a satisfactory. We look at the status of your account, and that's how we determine whether you're eligible for financial aid. We make sure that students have the GPA that's required for financial aid. We look at everything as far as determining whether you're eligible for financial aid or not. So make sure you keep those grades, keep up good grades, and keep a good academic status so we can continue to provide you financial aid. So basically, um, this is one way to have your financial aid for school. We try to help you get those funds so you can further your education and obtain an associate degree so you can have a certification, so you can have a higher education. We try to do everything that's possible to help you get get the funds that you need. And reply to our emails as soon as you can, response to our calls, make sure that we keep in communication with you as far as if we need any other documents so that everything could we can complete the process of providing you financial aid within a timely manner, a timely time, a good time frame, so nothing is delayed. And just a reminder, to student, reminder that do not procrastinate in submitting any documentations that will delay the process. So complete everything as soon as you can, and then we'll be able to package your information for financial aid.
Okay. One question, Tina, and I'm gonna
Sure.
go back to the loans real quick. I was kind of tied up there for a second, didn't get a chance to ask it. Well, you mentioned that sometimes the loans are in pending status. Now, is that pending status just based on the fact that the student does not accept or deny the loan, or are there other factors that may cause that to go into a pending status that the student needs to be aware of?
Okay, that's a good question. So, Bruce, what happens is when a student is packaged for the financial aid, they are going to be first, they're initially going to be in a pending status. The student will log into Eagle Self-Service and accept them or decline them. So that's the student is giving that option, whether they're going to accept them or decline them. After that point on, then the funds, we will be able to see their status change on our student account information. But until the student decides, to accept or decline them, they'll be sitting in their account in pending status. Now we've been, if students are having difficulties on the eTrieve account, we can also refer you to the help desk if you're not able to make any changes on eTrieve, on the eTrieve portal. But go ahead, and I advise everyone, please check your Eagle Still Serve account. Make sure you meet all the checklists. Make sure you completed all the documents that are required in your Eagle Self-Service account, and that you do change the status of the loans.
Okay, I just want to make sure that there wasn't a thing that you needed more information from the student to take it out of pending, so it was just up to the student then. Okay,
Right.
just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
No problem. Also, so as I go further regarding the loans, sometimes students come to me and ask me regarding changing a loan that has been accepted. A student would like to decline it. A student would like to revise the amount. And yes, you're eligible to do that as far as a loan, as long as the loan has not transmitted and dispersed to the business office, we are still able to make any changes. There is a form that is required. Students will need to fill out a financial aid loan adjustment form through their eTrieve account and submit that financial aid loan adjustment form to our office, and it's specified as to which loan you would want to cancel, which loan you would want to accept, and I can go ahead and process that request. If any loans are acceptance status, usually the process is if a student is awarded, the loans will be released to the business office 10 days prior to the start day of class. And unless, however, if any student, it's a first-time student loan borrower, in this case, there will be a delay, a 30-day delay on the first disbursement um, for students that are first-time student loan borrowers. Other than that, it's fine. Your account should be ready to have the funds dispersed to the business office to pay for tuitions, fees, and whatever's remaining. The business office will advise you as to what's remaining that you can use for books, and what's left after purchasing the books, the business office will refund you the difference. Any questions?
None through the chat,
Okay.
nothing in Facebook, I assume, Mariceli? Okay, all right.
Okay.
I would like to add on the
Okay.
Balances. A lot of students call and say, well, I haven't received my balance and I'm supposed to get it 10 days prior to the start of class.
Okay.
Balances are never sent to students 10 days prior. Funds are transmitted to the business office 10 days prior to the start of classes.
Mhm.
All balances are sent by the disbursements office, typically 30 days after classes start or sooner. And they will make that determination based on the funds availability and how much of those aids are being held to be used at the CTC bookstore. We have a lot of students that'll call in and say, well, I don't want to buy my books at the CTC bookstore, so I'd like to get my balance now so I can purchase them elsewhere. The business office policy is to hold those funds for 30 days before they will send them out to you. So if you're not going to charge at the CTC bookstore for books and supplies, then you'll just have to wait for that balance to come in and reimburse you for what you may expense at another location. Otherwise, the funds are available at the CTC bookstore, and you charge against your financial aid balance by using your CTC student ID number.
Great. Good point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pearl, for adding that information. And moving forward, I also want to talk about a little bit about financial literacy and as far as how to refresh, provide more information to students about not only having financial aid for school, but also managing your financial aid in life, how to save while being in college, how to be able to um, effectively manage your money while you're in college. I think it's very important that sometimes just thinking about what am I doing with my money? Am I managing my money correctly? Am I budgeting? Am I budgeting? Just being conscious of budgeting. It's, I guess, a first step. Thinking about why I need to budget and realizing how important it is um, to be able to have a plan, financially planning how to manage your money. So I was able to just get some information, look at some videos, and I was able to um, just get some information just to refresh you about creating a budget. You got to track your expenses, what is important about saving. Make sure that you consider having an emergency fund, starting an emergency fund, building your credit, and all those are important factors that would help you in the long run, also in the short term, and will help you manage your money. So I do have a video that I would like to share, and I'm going to share my screen to give you a little bit more information about budgeting.
More items on your to-do list than hours in the day? If you're in college, you know exactly what we're talking about. But there's one thing you should never be too busy to do, and that is taking time to make a budget. A budget is a financial plan that will help you make smart spending choices today while preparing for tomorrow. Budgeting will help you achieve your goals and prepare you for unexpected bumps in the road. So what goes into making a budget? First, you'll need to track your income and expenses for a particular period of time, such as a month. You can use pen and paper, a spreadsheet, or a budgeting app. After that, making your budget comes down to a simple equation: what you earn minus what you spend. To determine your income, include items such as wages earned at work, allowances from family, and student financial aid such as grants or scholarships. To determine your expenses, include items such as tuition, books, rent, credit card payments, and car payments. Then simply subtract your expenses from your income. Are your earnings greater than your spending? If so, you could choose to invest, buy a new cell phone, or simply save for a rainy day. But what if you spent more than you earned? If that's the case, it's time to cut back on your expenses and balance your budget. You may also need to find a way to increase your income. Remember, Everyone's budget is unique and it will fluctuate from month to month. So use a budget and be mindful of your daily expenses. That way you can make sure you're spending your money on things that really matter to you. When you budget, you decide where your money goes instead of wondering where it all went. And there you have it, the basics of a budget. Now it's time to create your own. Go to studentaid.gov/budget to get started.
Okay,
Great.
that was a little, I'm sorry, Bruce.
I said it was great.
Little information for students. Also, to emphasize a little bit more about the video, um, logging into studentaid.gov, you can, if students have an existing loan, prior loans, you can view everything. You can view your student loan information details on studentaid.gov aid summary, and that'll give you all the information as far as your loans. It's everything listed in there. Students also have access to the NSLDS, the National Student Loan Data System. You can access all the information about your loan, who's your loan servicer, regarding payment arrangements, regarding interest rate, regarding any questions. Your loan servicer is listed on there. Also, it's also listed on studentaid.gov. I want to go ahead and add a little bit about, credit cards and, maintaining a bank account. It's really, really important that to maintain a good credit score or work on having that credit score where you will be eligible for uh, having a lower interest rate when purchasing a home, purchasing a car. You want to have that the good interest rate offered to you when you have a good credit score. So try to maintain the good credit score um, by even through credit cards. If you have not established a credit score, I advise you start making payments on a credit card or on something that will help you establish that credit score, and you would be able to gain that credit. I believe that it's really important that students at their 20s, their 30s are seriously take this budgeting and finance and managing very serious, because this will make a big difference when retiring at retiring age. Investing, saving, it's going to be a huge impact as far as your lifestyle a couple years down the road. So do consider establishing a good credit, starting budgeting on what, considering what expenses you have, what savings you have, what's essential, what essential spendings you need to have, what are not essential spendings you need to have in order to have more control over the money that you actually have, that you have at the moment, so you can learn how to manage the money and, if possible, invest it. You can also invest it and have that money grow. So this money management checklist also on studentaid.gov will give you a lot of information. This is what I'm basically going over it. You can have access to this as well. It says, create good saving habits, manage your credit cards, find out from your credit cards if there's a way that you can reduce it or consolidate your credit cards. All that could be potentially important when it comes to being able to save a little bit of money. So also in regards to budgeting, I have information regarding um, regarding making a list. It could be writing everything on a piece of paper, as far as writing down all the expenses. You want to do that. You want to write all the expenses. It could be on a monthly basis, could be within 3 months, and go ahead and check your bank account constantly to see where you have spent money. What are your expenses? Where is there something you can, it's not you don't want to risky, you don't want to risky spend money on something that you don't need. what's really not essential. What's not essential, could I save that? Could I not purchase that and save a little money? So consider all your expenses and budget as much as you can. This would also help you throughout college. Less stress. It will be less stress if you know how to manage. You won't be so financially overwhelmed, and this would actually help you make a smooth road throughout your college career if you start budgeting now, especially if you do it at an early age of your early 20s. Your um, Start budgeting now and make it a habit. Once it's a habit, you've got this. It'll be a life changing for you to go ahead and start now and make a difference for later when you retire or later down in life. Any questions? I'll be
Yep.
more than happy to answer any questions. I think we have one.
Yeah, what should students look for when picking a credit card? You mentioned that credit card is a good way to establish that high credit score or getting that road to a good score started. So what should a student look for when selecting a credit card?
Students, I believe that whenever an off credit card is offered, there is the interest rate that you have to really take in consideration. What am I really paying for the interest rate? Uh, is it what percentage are they charging you to offer you that credit card? So look at the fine print, Google a little more as to which is the best credit card that'll suit you, which is one that's charging the less interest rate on that credit card. And I would just advise students, do your research. Um, with a credit card, do your research with the institution. Is it a institution that has been established for a long time? You know, this is your money. You really got to take care of your money. So selecting a credit card, just make sure you read all the information before you decide whether you want to accept that credit card or not.
I think I'd like to add also that when students are using credit cards, a lot of times they don't think about making the payments. The credit card company will tell you there's just a minimum payment due. Well, that is a really bad habit to get into because you will never pay the interest alone on that credit card if all you ever pay is a minimum amount due. I think from personal experience, when I was young and starting out, I came across a really good rule of thumb when using a credit card. It's a great way to establish credit as long as you're staying current on that card. The best way to do that is don't charge more than you can pay off each month. The biggest mistake students make and young people make with credit cards is to just charge endlessly. It's almost like having free money in your mind. Well, I don't have to pay this back until whenever. I don't have to pay more than the minimum. So without realizing the long-term debt repercussions from that, you end up using credit cards as if they're just free money, and they're not. You're paying the most
Right.
expensive rate to use that money, and you're paying it for a very, very long term. So the best rule of thumb I can ever offer anybody is don't use that credit card as free money. Make sure you're using it only for what you need case of an emergency, for instance, or as expenses come up, or you just want to track your income, maybe get cash back. Those are really good rules of thumb. But make sure you pay that off each month. And if you look at something and say, I need a new TV right now, well, that's about a $900 purchase. I don't want to spend 900, so I'm just going to charge it. Bad idea. You'd be better off financing through the company you're buying it from probably than putting it on a credit card. So save up for a while, know that at the end of the month you're going to have enough to pay that off, and then use your credit card.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I think a lot of us can relate to that very as we're starting out in life and learning the ropes of financial literacy and credit card problems. But you're exactly right because you pay off that minimum debt, but then you go out and purchase more. You say, okay, I've paid my debt, my minimum debt, and then I'll go out and purchase more. But then again, you're starting to build up more payments due. So again, good advice is to not charge more than you can afford to pay back. So great. Seen anything else on loans or anything?
Um, sure. I guess I can touch a little bit on what Ms. Pearl said. Don't borrow more than what you need. I think that can relate also to the loans. A lot of times I advise students to really analyze and find out what exactly, what amount they need, how many classes are they going to take, what is going to be the total expenses of their classes. Do they really need the loans? The first option would be for students to obtain the federal Pell Grant, the free money, any grants that are available that they can apply for. Go ahead and do apply for the the grants, the scholarships, the FAFSA, the federal Pell Grant. And if you do, it's that you do need and you must have a loan, then go ahead and go forward and accept the amount that you believe you need. Do not accept more than what you need. Then what's going to happen is you're going to be in debt, and then it's going to be your responsibility to pay the loan. It's going to be, you've signed the master promissory note that you agree to repay that back. So what is borrowed is going to have to be repaid. And I really want to advise everyone, students, to just really take in consideration the money that it's being offered to you, and use just what you need.
Good, and that's a great segue to what I was going to say, because I know student loan, student debt is pretty much a fact of life. I mean, having to pay those back. But one thing that Pearl always says in her spiel is to try to avoid the loan. And so I'm going to let Pearl talk about the Pell Grant option. I know sometimes loans are the only way that students can afford to go to school, but if you're eligible for the Pell Grant, I'm going to let Pearl tell you about the Pell Grant option, which does not need to be repaid.
Correct. And on the Pell Grant, when students do the FAFSA, they qualify for what we call Pell Grant, PELL, loans, and SEOG, Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. So we as an institution award the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, and it's based on an amount that we are awarded as an institution. We find the criteria and we award that based on the fact that you did the FAFSA. So you don't need to apply for that separately. If you qualify, we will award it automatically. The Pell Grant is another free financial aid option. If you qualify for a full Pell Grant, just to give you a short example, a full Pell Grant is over $9,000 now for the year. That would be enough funding for a in-state Texas resident to pay for all of their tuition, their books, their supplies, and still receive a balance check. In those cases, there is absolutely no reason to take out a student loan. A lot of students see the opportunity. I'm a freshman in college. I'm right out of high school, and you're going to give me $9,500 just because I ask for it? That's cool. I'm going to take that loan. Well, what you don't realize is you start accruing interest once you graduate, and that loan becomes your first debt. Then you go off to a four-year school, and guess what? That Pell Grant is not going to pay for everything. I can promise you that it is not going to cover probably even your tuition. At that point, you want to borrow student loans because they're a better option than taking out private loans or trying to get any other type of payment. But as a student, you always want to apply and try and qualify for Pell Grant, SEOG, and scholarships or grants. All of those are free options. A lot of scholarships go unused because people do not apply for them. Students don't want to write an essay, for instance. Well, some of them don't even require that. So you as a student need to look for as much free money as possible and be very cautious of accepting awards that you don't fully understand, especially as you transition maybe from CTC to a four-year university. You are definitely going to want to use some of those benefits. This also lines up with our veteran benefits that a lot of you may have. And I'd like to turn it over to Lucette to kind of talk about some more of that. We call it free money, but truly it's earned money because you were a soldier and you earned that money. And you put your lives on the line to receive these benefits. And you need to fully understand what those benefits are, how you're going to use them, and how you're going to make them last throughout your educational goals. So Lucette, if you would chime in here, I'd appreciate it and say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are all about trying to help our students find the funding for their classes. And if you or your parents or guardians you may be eligible for veteran benefits, but you're going to have to first see if you're eligible through the VA. So in order to do that, very quickly, I'm going to try to share my screen here and see if we can get you to some helpful places. And of course, it's not. Let me see if I can move this guy over here. I apologize. I had it all set up and then everything kind of happens at once. All right, is everybody able to see my screen?
Not yet. If you
Not
want some
yet.
assistance, we'll be
Okay.
glad to share our
That's
screen and you can
fine.
walk us through where you need us to go.
Well, I thought it was sharing. Share. How about now?
Now
Yes,
it's
there
good.
we go.
Okay.
It's getting there. There we go. Now we got your screen.
You got the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So at ctcd.edu, it is a wonderful resource for all things financial aid and veteran services. You just got to put a little effort into searching. In this case, if you go over to students, you'll notice that you have a section that pops up for military veterans and spouses here. You're going to come down to the military veterans section, and that's going to take you to this page. And this page gives you some information and links to the eTrieve system, which is how you apply for CTC. And you're going to have to fill out this application we call a VEC in order to get your benefits. But before you can do our application, you have to go to the VA. So they have multiple programs available for student soldiers and veterans. Sometimes active duty can still receive veteran education benefits. So we absolutely request that you check with your VA counselor, your VRNE counselor, or whomever you're already speaking with to make sure you have the correct information. You're going to log into there. Everything is electronic now. It's very difficult for many to wrap their heads around because we've had so much paper over the last few years, but they are going for education benefits strictly paperless. So you're going to go to the va.gov and you can find how to apply. There are about traditionally five that are used, which is the traditional GI Bill, then the VRNE, which is Veteran Readiness and Employment, the post 9/11, the dependents. So if your parents or grandparents assign benefits to you, you're considered their dependent for Chapter 35. And then there's also the reserves programs that we have. So when you fill out your application with us, you're going to note that on the form. And it's very important because all of these benefits come with a certificate of eligibility, and that is what we use to try to keep you from getting dropped for non-payment until we can get all of your information processed. So this does take some time. Every application has to be touched by a person in order to verify what classes you're in. So please make sure that you plan ahead to do this, and you will receive a stipend from the VA in some cases. In some cases, we go ahead and send a voucher to the business office to take care of your tuition and fees. So if you have more questions about that, we are happy to help you to come into the second floor in building 215 in Veteran Services so that we can walk you through it. And you're also able to call Eagles on Call after hours. We have several advisors there that can assist because we know it's crunch time, so sometimes that's an option. And Bruce, unless there's something I missed.
No, I think you covered. I was just typing your building location into the chat there so people know where to go to
Okay.
find you. And and again, you mentioned that there are different options, different military benefits, GI Bill, the dependents, and so forth. So again, the student just needs to make sure that they're applying and know which one that they qualify for. So
Exactly.
right.
So I add this every year, but August is not the month to start applying for all these benefits. It is not the month to start applying for all these benefits. So we really have a lot of students. They're off all summer. They're coming out of high school. They've been playing and having a great summer and their last summer before college starts and life continues, and they come in at the 11th hour and say, I'm here and I want to get my classes paid for. What do I need to do? How do I start? You're already too late. So make sure you keep that in mind, and especially with your VA benefits where you do have a person touching every single file. If your file for financial aid, for instance, is selected by Department of Ed for verification, that means it could take a few weeks. You don't want those weeks to start after classes have already started. Because as much as my favorite saying from every student is always, don't you realize classes start on Monday? We work here. We know exactly when those classes start. Unfortunately, you may not have. So you really, really want to pay attention and do yourself a big favor and save yourself a whole lot of upset by completing all of this information ahead of time. One thing I think I want to ask Lucette on the veterans, can they apply and get their certificate of eligibility, but maybe they're not ready to register right now? Can they get it? How long is it good for? Or do they have to apply every time they go in to do a VA certification?
That is a great question. So, and it's a very loaded question. The certificate of eligibility is good for however long the VA says it's good for. Typically, it's 36 months, but it varies. It varies by program. The other issue with our VECs is that every time a student registers for classes, they have to complete a new VEC because we don't get an automatic miraculous note that says, hey, student ABC has registered for classes. It doesn't work that way. So you have to tell us when you're registered. So that means we have 8-week classes and we have 16-week classes. If you don't put all of that on your first VEC, then you will have to submit another VEC each time you register. We also ask that you notify us if you drop a class by emailing us at veteran.services@ctcd.edu. Typically, we pick that up before we get the emails, but you are required to let us know that. Now, that certificate of eligibility that you're applying for can take up to 30 days. I'm going to say that again. Just the certificate of eligibility from the VA can take up to 30 days to receive. In addition to that, then we have to process your application. And if that isn't enough, if you are an A&M student, you're going for your bachelor's degree, congratulations. You're going to be taking some classes with A&M up the road, and with us, you have to fill out a consortium agreement for your financial aid, but you're also going to have a parent institution letter from A&M saying, this is the degree they're on, and these classes are required at your institution. And I can tell you right now that A&M is probably working on the 16th of August for their PILs to get to us. So guess what's happening to our students who didn't get their PILs done ahead of time? Well, it's a shell game and we're kind of waiting. And a lot of times students will have to pay out of pocket just to make sure that they stay in those classes. So, but the VA will eventually send the stipends for those monies. And it's one of those things that you just have to plan ahead. Like I put into the chat, spring registration opens in October, get it done early.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question with registration, as you noticed, starting in October. Between the three of you, when should a student start? You said don't wait till that last minute in August, so I'm assuming that now would be a great time to start getting that information in for spring consideration.
Right.
Definitely, the certificates of eligibility specifically.
Yeah.
And for your financial aid, it's just so those of you that are coming into the 23-24 school year, those applications we've already started pulling in and are working on. For 24-25, they're doing a major overhaul of the FAFSA application. Huge, first time in 44 years. So we're all a little nervous, not exactly sure what we're going to tell students yet. And neither does the Department of Ed. But your typical application is not going to be available in October this year. And Lucette just shared a little funny with me. They're calling this the FAFSA Simplification Act. And I can promise you it's anything but simple for those of us trying to get this process handled. So expect some delays anyway for the 24-25 school year because of the first major overhaul, like I said, in I believe they said 44 years. So when we say apply early, apply in October every single year, there will be an exception. This October, which is just a few weeks away, the FAFSA is not going to be ready yet for the next year, which starts in August of next year. And I think that's what confuses people. This Department of Ed has taken the FAFSA application and required people to use tax income information from 2 years prior. There's always a lot of changes within those 2 years. So we have a lot of confusion on what tax year, what aid year am I applying for? When does it start? But if you remember one simple rule for the FAFSA application, the financial aid year always starts in August. It always starts in fall. So that becomes the header of the year you're applying for. So next fall begins 24, so you'll be doing the 24-25 FAFSA. This one started in August of this year, so you did the 23-24 FAFSA. But a lot of students get confused by that because they said, well, I'm in 23, so I did the 22-23 FAFSA, and now you're telling me I'm not eligible. You're a year late. So always remember, August starts the new year, and the new year will always begin with that month's year. So it's August 24 will be the new FAFSA. But I can tell you it will not be ready by October. So just keep an eye out on it. Go to the FAFSAstudentaid.gov website, and you'll be able to see when it's available. But go ahead and do it as soon as it is, and don't wait till next August.
Will students still be able to use that FAFSA if they're considering registering for spring classes now, or is it too late for that?
No, that the FAFSA for spring is this year's FAFSA, which is the 23-24 FAFSA. And once they've completed that one, it is good until next summer at CTC.
Okay, and they should do that now if they're
Oh, yeah,
considering
they
spring
should
classes.
have done this last October already.
Right,
And if you haven't done it since last October and you're wanting to start in the spring, make sure you're doing the 23-24 FAFSA right away.
right away. That's the key, right away. Don't wait until January or December to decide that you're going to apply. So do the application now. All right, thank you, ladies, so much. Are there any last words of wisdom or any last tidbits that we did not cover that you think might be important for students to know? Tina, we'll start with you.
Yes, thank you, Bruce. I would advise everyone, students, please do log into our CTC homepage. You will be able to find vast of information, financial aid information. We do have the Financial Aid Insider in our financial aid website, the Central Texas website. You go to financial aid students and financial aid resources. So the Financial Aid Insider will provide you with the most updated information. The interest rates for the loans did go up, so it's listed on there. Any deadlines for the loans, it's listed on there. Any, as Ms. Pearl mentioned, submitting the FAFSA, the dates are listed in there. So go ahead and do that. Also, our Central Texas homepage offers any scholarships that will be opening up. It's listed on there. Any grants that will be available for students, it's all in there. So go ahead and take some time to go on our website and just check out the VA benefits, the financial aid, the grants, the scholarships, registration, academic advising, and get a little more information to be more prepared for for the entire academic year. So that will be helpful. Other than that, my advice to the students is just, you know, keep communication with us, make sure you submit everything on time, and, submit everything. Don't wait till the last minute because it might be delayed a couple weeks. Right now, we're really busy and we're doing the best we can to help all the students, but do submit everything on time and just keep communication with the financial aid office so we can better assist you.
Right, and you mentioned scholarships, so that brings up a point. There are many outside scholarships that students can apply for now, but traditionally our CTC Foundation Scholarship Program opens with the start of the spring semester, but rumor has it there may be an opportunity still this fall to apply for some scholarships. So keep your eyes and ears open to the CTC webpage for any updates on scholarship opportunities coming up this fall. And again, scholarships, free money,
Yep.
so you don't have to pay those back. So
Right.
Lisette, what about you? Any last tidbits of advice or words of wisdom that you'd like to impart?
Apply early, basically, and yes, the foundation scholarships are going to open in October. I didn't mention Hazelwood, but Hazelwood is for Texas veterans. So if you're a veteran entered in the state of Texas, or Texas was the home of residency, that may be an option for you as well. All of our information is located on our web pages. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to come in and see us, or give us a shout out at veteran.services, or see Hazelwood at ctcd.edu, and we're happy to help you.
Right. And Pearl?
Always again, start early. Always start early. Make sure you
And
get
then I
everything
guess I'm
done.
gonna,
I think you should spend some serious time really looking at our CTC financial aid website. It's not something I probably emphasize enough. It looks a little overwhelming when you open it up because we have so much information, but I promise you, if you have a question, we've got an answer right there on the website. So please use the resources available to you. Contact us at financial.aid@ctcd.edu, and we will be able to help you with any questions you have. Thank you so much for participating and watching this video today, and we hope we've been able to help.
right, and I just want to caveat what you said, would try to get those Pell Grants first and loans second, so you don't have to pay those back, so you don't start out in debt when you leave CTC and move on to the 4-year, or you move on to a job and your paycheck goes to paying back that student loan as opposed to supporting yourself and your family. So try to think Pell Grant first.
Right.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for your contributions today. Know the students will appreciate that, and it will be more than helpful for them as they plot and plan their college careers here at CTC and moving forward. So, and again, the tips on budgeting were spot on, and hopefully students can take those and apply those later on down the road. So we thank you again. So join us later on today. We'll have a Q&A session. And ask any questions about CTC if this is your first semester here and you're experiencing issues or want to share some things of what you're experiencing. Please join us today, this afternoon from 2 to 3, and it'll be streamed on Facebook as well. And there's a sign up on the Student Life and Activities page for you to sign up for this Q&A session. So again, feel free to join us and be on the lookout for future CTC Live info sessions. And we are certainly glad you're here. Welcome, Eagles, to the first semester here of the 23-24 academic year, and we hope it's going to be a successful one for you. So, yay. So, thank you all so much for being here, and we will see you hopefully this afternoon for our Q&A session. And again, thanks, everybody. Waiting on you, Mary Sally. Muted.
You're the host.
Oh, okay. I'm the host now, so we are clear.
No, you need to stop sharing.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where that is.
Do you see 3 dots at the bottom?
Okay, yeah.
See if it says stop sharing in there as an option.
Stop live streaming.